I look like a gardener to you? I am a better, I am not a gardener. Hedging is for gardens. How does your garden grow?
With plus money.
With plus money. Hedging is for gardens.
Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck. Now, yesterday, I did suggest that Lewis Jones was going to be on the show. Unfortunately, Lewis can't be with us today for the Friday soccer action. So what we did is we got the Rolodex out, and we under the best possible tipster available, we sort of pulled out the card. I phoned him up. He didn't answer. So instead, we've got Nigel Seeley with us. Nigel, how?
7 of you asked for me. Well, I was going to say Lewis has had a tough week. That's what I was going to say. When you look at me, he comes on the making to see Lewis. Lewis has had a very, very tough week. I'm good, Dan. Very good. But still got a little bit of jet lag. I'm usually, as you know, I'm an early riser. I get up at about sort of 6 o'clock in the morning. I fell asleep till about 12:30 this afternoon, which was very much
afternoon nap. Well, once you get beyond 50, Nigel, this is what happens.
Well, I know, but I'm usually up and ready, raring to go. But today I had a little bit of a lay-in, and so I'm feel good today. Looking forward to the show. Looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to having decent football. Really, I mean, it's been like ages, isn't it? We've had any decent European football, and it has been ages. In the Premier League, we have to wait another till the midweek card as well, which we'll be covering on Monday. So looking forward to today.
We have got soccer, obviously. We've got some tennis as well. We're going to talk Championship. We've got Liga, Bundesliga games to consider as well. The action obviously continues in Miami. Nigel's picks and leans to come on a couple of games. We'll tackle the WTA final as well. March Madness continues, obviously. We'll get all the latest betting news from that. And a shout out to Doug as well. Plus, we'll take a little bit of a sneak look at the FA Cup quarterfinals for you. Get in touch with us at Because We Win on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, if you haven't got the newsletter, sign up for it. bettingweeklystudios.com. A double dose over the course of the week, early week, and then one later in the week, specifically looking ahead to the weekend action. Let us know what you're betting on this Friday in the comments. Got the comments open here. Rick says, morning. Hope everyone made some money yesterday. Disky Stat says, welcome all. Duncan, afternoon, guys. Mark B, all right, lads. Sergey Donde says, tennis. Yeah, we're going to talk tennis. Don't worry about that. Byron says, go Gators. Ranjiv Singh, good day to everybody. Disky Stats, thanks, Dan. You got the man who changed the show time. Hi, Nigel. Good to see you.
I wasn't the man who changed clocks going forward. As clocks going forward was, I can't change the time. The clocks go forward in America.
Nigel can do many things. But that's sort of beyond him a little bit.
A reminder of that, this will be the last one that'll be at this time. Then we'll go back to normal at the weekend because the clock's change in England. We've got to remember the time is always 11 o'clock Eastern time, which unfortunately, wherever we are in the world, might be a little bit different. But we're back to a later showing on the weekend, next week. Which I've got to put that in the WhatsApp group because people won't realise.
Listen, people won't remember. Ranju, Genevieve says, hey, Ranju says, big NBA day today, been hot streak lately, record 21-7 here. Well, give us your thoughts, Ranju, give us your picks. King Savvy Saver, Artifice, unlucky. Ming says, hi guys, looking forward to the return of the Bundesliga today. John says, hello. And Ghibli says, no interruption now until the end of the season for the soccer we're talking about here. Was Artifice unlucky yesterday? Was carrying a bit of an injury, and myself and Sean were talking about him yesterday. Got beat straight sets, didn't he, in the end, I think?
He kept it competitive in set number 1, and then I think he just got run out of gas in set number 2. I think if he won the first set, obviously it would have changed the way he approached his brother. Yeah, he just in another injury, really. Sean's been extremely unlucky with injuries this season on certain players at key moments. Another player who gave up this week pulled out. Feast was injured as well. Hopefully it doesn't continue, but it's been a tough run on the tennis with injuries. I've never seen anything like it up to this time of the year when we're only just starting April, and all these players are pulling out injured or getting injured already. Just shows you how much tennis they're having to play in a quick succession.
March Madness continues, of course. Notable Thursday winners when it came to the March Madness action. Duke against Arizona, over 184 0.5 total, minus 208 was a winner for $25,000. Also a 27k play on over 187.5. Again on that Duke Arizona game. Duke were really popular when we talked about the basketball yesterday. And also a nice winner, minus 5 on the alternative handicap line at minus 192, which was a winner outside of March Madness in the NBA. $23,000 play on the Mavericks, minus 7.5 against Orlando Magic was a winner. But there was a hefty loser in the hockey, 30,000 play on the Maple Leafs, live on the money line at minus 147, which did not win. A shout out for Doug because he's been in fantastic form for us. Obviously, there's an awful lot of shows across the Bet Rivers network. There's plenty of college action on one or two of the shows. You make sure you get yourself across them. We're delighted to have Doug on the show when we can grab him. He's been in good form. And the show that Doug and Steve recorded on Wednesday is still live. There are still games, including one of Doug's best bets. It's on Houston in the game tonight against Purdue College around about 10 p.m. Eastern. So look out for that. Go back to Wednesday's shows after you've finished with this one if you want a selection on the basketball. In terms of the Friday live streams, if you're an account holder with Bet Rivers, either on the app, on the website, you'll be able to watch an awful lot and you'll get some good advice from myself and Nigel, hopefully, on a lot of this action. Mensik against Fritz, all the ATP action is streamed live. Sheffield United, Coventry City, again, that one is live in the Championship. There's also League Two fixtures that you can watch. Colchester, Grimsby and Tranmere against Cheltenham. Strasbourg, Lyon is live as well. We will talk about that game. I spoke with Steve and with James about the game tonight, so it's not necessarily my picks, but it's theirs, which is obviously a bit of an up. We've also got six League Two games for you to watch, and Portuguese and Spanish second tier football. And just on those games, very briefly, Benfica can go top if they win tonight. It's been a $3,000 play on the under 2.5 total goals in that game, and also Tenerife against Granada over 1.5 total goals, a $2,000 play on that one as well. There's also Serie B action, Spezia against Brescia there. That's the team just outside the top two, playing against just outside the relegation zone. And finally, before we get into some thoughts from Nigel on the Sheffield United Coventry game, one or two house specials that we can talk about or just run through. 75 total runs scored across all 9 Friday MLB games is even money, plus 100. The baseball season started yesterday. Anthony Santander or Jordan Alvarez to hit a home run at plus 134. Tennessee against Kentucky to be the highest scoring game of the Friday Sweet 16 in March Madness at 4-1. And any of Friday's Sweet 16's games to go into overtime at plus 325. So a lot of house specials to get stuck into if any of those take your fancy. Make sure you cross the Bet Rivers website or app. Let's get to Sheffield United Coventry, shall we, Nigel? These are the latest prices for the massive game in the Championship tonight. This is a game that is key at the top. Sheffield United are the favourites, minus 103. Coventry plus 235. The tie here is plus 225. 1 or 2 goal scorers listed there as well. This is second against fifth. Nigel, Leeds, are having their usual sort of spring stumble, aren't they, really? They've opened it up. Sheffield United can go top. But Coventry have just been brilliant since Frank Lampard took over. And that was way back in sort of late November. But, since then, he's nearly kept pace with the top 3. They've amassed 42 points, which is only 3 fewer than Burnley, than Leeds and Sheffield United. They're a proper side, aren't they, under Frank Lampard? How are we assessing this one? I'd like to see Coventry win. I've backed Burnley in a lot of ACCAs and a lot of parlays. Likewise, Leeds in 1 or 2 as well. So a Sheffield United win is no good for me. What you got for us?
Well, I mean, the first thing I've got to say is that I was very fortunate when I spoke to Lewis Jones, who'd done a lot of work on this match already, and he sent me all his notes over. So these notes you'll be very pleased to know these notes aren't from me. They're from the maestro, Lewis Jones, who's put the effort in. But before we come on to his suggestions and what he thinks about this match, Lampard has done an amazing job, and he's got a team of players that have bought into him. The quality of the match, the last match they played, Middlesbrough, was insane. The amount of how well they played, how much the players celebrating it's not Middlesbrough, Sunderland. Sorry, sure I'll get in trouble for that. But the amount of times the passion from the players and the fans around Lampard is phenomenal. And I suppose we're looking at this side now and thinking, where are we positioning them? What are they a side that are showing where they could be? Are they a top 5 side? Are they a playoff side? Or are they actually a team on this current form or a team that could be challenging with those top 3 have been so dominant this season? So are we dismissing their early part of the season, or are we looking at where they are currently now? I think they're a side that are probably at this moment in time not far off in terms of Sheffield United. Definitely. Because Sheffield United's metrics are awful. Now, I'm not a really huge metric man, but Lewis has sent me some stuff here to break this down to show you how impressive Coventry have been under Lampard. So when he took over Lampard, they were in 17th place. They're now up to 5th with 10 wins in their 12 league matches. Now, Sheffield United are rugged. They're tough to beat. They're winning games ugly. And the manager famously said, we just win football matches. That's what we do. Well, okay, you can win teams in the middle position 1-0, 2-0. When you're playing a team like this Coventry side of scoring goals, creating chances, you may just find out your luck may run out. If you look at the metrics, Coventry are absolutely all over them. If you look at Sheffield United, they've gone from conceding 104 goals in the Premier League last season to just 28 in the Championship. Now, that shows you what a huge gulf it is between the Championship and the Premier League. And the 3 teams who have gone up from the Championship to the Premier League season look like, well, very likely are going to come down. This Sheffield United side, in matches against top 6 sides, have only won once in their 8 matches. And in the reverse fixture, there was a 2-2 draw at Coventry. They lost the XG battle 2.2 to 1.2. The shot count 20-7 and the corner count 12-2. And they also lost twice to Leeds and lost to Burnley. So this is interesting because this Coventry side are showing ridiculously amounts of great form. They're creating chances, and Sheffield United are just winning. So it's a battle of the team that are on the up and the team that are just grinding out results. So, but if you look at the odds with Bet Rivers, I don't think that really reflects that at the moment. I mean, Sheffield United are -103 here to win this. I think that's a price that I wouldn't be betting. I think that they say the league table never lies, but on this occasion, I think the league table possibly does lie. I mean, Coventry's performance last time against Sunderland was as good as what you'll see from anybody in the Championship. So I'm leaning. This is my bet as well. That obviously Lewis has given me these notes here, but I think that Lewis has got a prop on the match. But I'm leaning towards Coventry on the draw no bet market here. I think the price of plus 10, where is it? So the draw no bet plus 150. I think that's a really, really big price here. I know Sheffield United have been grinding out those results and getting well, but I think they've been very, very fortunate over the season. You can turn around and say, yeah, they're gritty, they're determined, but this is a proper football team here who are flying and got goals all over them. So I'm going to go for a small lean for the visitors here on the draw no bet. And if you look, this is the main bet we're going to go for though. This is Lewis's bet. So he's got Coventry the second best attack in the league based on goals scored and XG created. They've actually scored 2 more goals than Sheffield United this season, 55-53. And he fancies him to score. And he's going to go with Coventry striker Hadji Wright to score at any time at plus 255 with Bet Rivers. I think that price is now. Yeah. He says he's a quality player. He's perhaps the best striker in the league on his day. He's back from injury after missing 4 months of the season with an ankle issue and comes here flying after scoring a hat-trick v Sunderland. He scored 10 goals in just 13 Championship starts this season, a goal every 125 minutes. Massive player for Coventry and could fire them up through the playoffs. So Hadji Wright, missing a lot of the season, got a goal in him, and he believes that Coventry will score in this match. I believe that they're at the value on this play on the draw no bet market, and there is the prop. The bet is Hadji Wright to score any time at plus 255, courtesy of the excellent Lewis Jones, who unfortunately can't make it today. So he's done the work for me, sent this through to me, and that is the bet he fancies. And his record on here is phenomenal, so we can't overlook that. So Hadji Wright is the bet to score anytime.
Would you throw in Tino bet, Cov, or even, draw double chance is quite short, isn't it? -148 I looked at as well. I can't see Coventry losing here, but it's just how you attack it. Would you go draw double chance? Would you go Tino bet?
Well, I'm going to go draw no bet. I just can't see Coventry not scoring. I think they'll score in this match. I think they're full of goals. I think they're full of confidence. And, you know, these are two very, very different kind of managers, but they're very similar. They're very different in their style of approach, but they're very similar in terms of their passion that they get on with it, with the crowd behind them. And I think it'll be a battle between the two managers. And I just think that the Coventry side offers more of a goal threat currently than the Sheffield United side. If you're looking at Sheffield United to win this, I think their best chance to win it is to keep Coventry at bay and nick it 1-0. Whereas I think it'd be very hard to do. So if Coventry score one goal, I think it's going to be quite hard for Sheffield United to score two. So yeah, Coventry draw no bet was my lean. Lewis's bet is the plus 255 and has you right to score at any time.
Yeah, 5 of the last 6 Coventry games have gone overs, incidentally. Just saw a comment about, is Hadji right on penalties? Yes, is the answer. Let's just wind back to see what the YouTube commenters are talking about. Paul's on. Morning to you, Paul Laguna. Always good to have Paul with us. Hayden says, Barca under 3.5 goals edged in last night. Yeah, we put up under 3.5 at around about even money. There was 2 goals in the opening 20 minutes. It was a bit of a sweat for most of it, but we got there in the end despite that Lewandowski late goal. Tribe of Gad says, hello, gents. Paul says, Florida minus 4.5 lock does hit. Oh, yes, it does. Gene says he'll learn from it. Rebecca, talking about Rebecca's comment about Artifice played too many 3-set matches. Mensik had days off. Was that a factor as well, Mensik having an extra day, do you think, Nigel, or is it face injury more of an issue?
I think it helps, but I think it's a mixture of both. The weather, the day off, and also the fact that he had an injury. I think it's a mixture of 50-50 call, really.
Mark says, we'd love to hear Doug if he covers baseball. I don't know if he does, but he might do. We'll have to put that to the powers that be. That's from Mark. Nish says, NBA Pistons on the handicap, plus 1.5 or 2.5. Nish 1.8 odds, decimal odds. Duncan says, Coventry or draw double chance. Got for that. Oh, yeah, go for that one. Villa fan says, just logged on, better late than never. And hi, Dan. Hi, Nigel. Hope you're over the jet lag. Nish says, Sheffield will hold them off at home. So both teams to score, Sheffield win or draw. Nishi's not overthinking the data or the stats or the metrics.
I just want to say something about that though, because I saw that comment there. I mean, I don't look at the data so much, and you know, perhaps I should do it, and I'm always deterred by it. But I think the Sheffield United can do that against teams like mid-table sides, or you know, don't have any shots, quite pretty dull, and then be more clinical in their goal scoring approach against teams like I don't know, for example, like a Preston or a Luton or something like that. But when you're up against this Coventry side who are producing just very, very, very good numbers each week, I think you have to respect these numbers. So 9 times out of 10, I would say ignore them. And I don't think the market has respected the price. I mean, I genuinely believe at this moment in time that Coventry aren't far off at all. The top 3 in this division, with what they're producing on the pitch, the confidence levels, the players. And you'll remember, they were amongst the favourites to be in the playoffs at the start of the season. They just had a terrible start. So everyone expected them to be in the position they are now, but now they're still being priced as big outsiders for this more big outsiders. I mean, I just don't see Sheffield United being any value at minus money. They could win it 1 or 2-0, but I just think it's going to be very, very hard for them to keep this side creating the amount of chance they are creating from scoring. And I don't think Sheffield United have got 2 or 3 goals in if they get involved in a kind of a high-scoring game.
Justin says both teams to score, Coventry double chance. A lot of people suggesting that Coventry might be the play. What else we got? Ranjiv Singh says, cheeky NBA bet on a very less known player. Take Kolek for the Knicks over 0.5 points in the first quarter. Knicks missing 3 guards today. Also a hammer on his over 6.5 assists. Keep the picks coming. I might not get to all of them as we rattle through some of the other bets that we've got.
So I'll just say one other thing before we leave this match aside. The last 4 Sheffield United wins, 3 of them have been 1-0. And that's the Sheffield Wednesday, Preston and Luton. And Coventry have just got goals in them. I just cannot see how they're not going to score. I mean, Coventry have scored at least 3 goals in 3 of their last 4 matches, and at least 2 goals in 5 of their last 6. So I think Coventry are a value here.
I think they are. Sheffield United score late. They've been winning games late, and they've been winning games, as you say, by 1 goal margins. I think Coventry might win tonight, but Nish has got respect for Coventry. Goal capabilities will score. They will score tonight. However, I don't see a win for them. I'm going for both teams to score, and a Sheffield United win or draw. BTCS alone, no value though. Disky Stats says Coventry +1 on the Asian, which would be pretty sure. What else we got here? There was an interesting one. Mark says metrics don't win football matches every week. The shrewdies constantly take on Burnley and Sheffield United on metrics, and they keep on winning. Sheffield United have lost 2, drawn 1, 110 of their last 13.
The Shrewdies take Burnley to win to 0 and Sheffield United to win to 0. That's what the Shrewdies do. And Leeds to win to 0. They don't concede goals, these sides. That's the problem.
I don't know. I think Leeds are falling apart as per usual. Sorry, Steve. Steve Wiss did come on and say something about wanting Frank Lampard's side to win for once. Yeah, Steve's with us today. Sheffield United have been quite lucky. Somehow found ways to get results. That is true. That's Coventry. Haji Wright is the play. We're also looking at a side with Coventry. Draw double chance. +1 on the Asian, tie no bet. That's the sort of spin that we're looking at here. And if you wanted to know under overs, we're sort of tending to go overs. A lot of Sheffield United goals come late on. 12 of the last 16 in the second half, incidentally. Let's rattle through some Liga and Bundesliga thoughts before we get Nigel's tennis picks for the ATP action in Miami. Got a couple of games tonight, one in Germany and one in France. I'll tackle that bottom one first. Leverkusen against Bochum. Leverkusen are -500 here. They're 6 points behind Bayern. The 20s for the title. Bayern are no offers. Leverkusen, who did win last time out. They beat Stuttgart 4-3. It was almost a throwback to what they did last year. They scored in the 88th and the 90th minute. They'd lost their last 3 in all competitions, including home and away against Bayern, of course, in the Champions League. Florian Wirtz is out for the remainder of the season. Linked with Bayern, of course, linked with Manchester City. Not quite sure how big a blow that is. You'd say it's a massive blow normally, but his production, his numbers had just gone down a little bit. He'd failed to register a shot, let alone a shot on target in his last 2 appearances, and didn't have a shot on target in 5 of his last 8. Tapsoda's out at the back as well for Leverkusen. That could be a worry. He has been a regular this season, and their expected goals against has been over 2 in 3 of the last 4. So I think Bochum have got a fighting chance, a puncher's chance of maybe at least scoring here. They're 1 point below the playoff position in the Bundesliga. They can leapfrog Heidenheim with a win. They've been bottom for much of the season, October through to February, but they've only lost 2 of their last 6. They beat Bayern away 3-2. I think they've got a puncher's chance of at least scoring. Everybody likes goals when it comes to the Bundesliga. We know that. The picks for me, over 3.5 is +108, so it's pretty sure. Over 2.5 Leverkusen goals, and they're going to be doing most of the heavy lifting, you would have thought, is -122. Both of these teams' games average over 3 this season in the Bundesliga. If you parlay over 1.5 Leverkusen goals with over half a Bochum goal, so you need Bochum to score and Leverkusen to score 2 or more, you make it a plus money play at +106. And it basically gets that over 2.5 on your side for a 2-1 Leverkusen win. You having that one, Nigel? Have I been
I lost you. I lost you. You need a degree to get one of your bets on. What you got to do is just simplify. What's what
Don't
we do?
worry about that.
We got we going for both teams to score, yeah?
We're looking at over 1.5 for Leverkusen.
Yep.
1 or more for Bochum.
Okay.
Put that together, +106. Trust me, I've got this one for you.
All right.
What have we got in the YouTube commenters might be a little bit better than this. Nish says Leverkusen will get 1 or 2 goals, but I won't discount both teams to score. Yes, here. Nish says Bochum can make this feisty. That's sort of the angle that we're coming up here.
I think Bayer and both teams to score. That's what you're saying, isn't it? That's what
no, you've got to get to well. What you've got, you've got the 2-2 on your side if you play it like this. You've got a 3-3. You've got to remember Leverkusen get involved.
Come on, it sounds.
They get involved in so many crazy games as Bundesliga fans will tell you. It's a good bet, says Nish. Okay. Danny's trying to say Bayern and both teams to score. Yes, I want the 2-2 on my side, Janippy. Okay. I think Bochum have got a puncher's side of getting something from the game. And Duncan says 0-0 coming up. Yep. That's the way we're going to play it. If you just want to play over 3.5, +108, I can get with that. As for the French game, I have leaned on Mr. Wyss and Mr. Eastham for thoughts on this one. Strasbourg are plus 170, Lyon are plus 150, the tie plus 255. Over and under here, minus 150 is overs. Under, Strasbourg have been an underside recently, plus 120. Strasbourg are second in the 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 match form tables. They're absolutely flying. Only Paris Saint-Germain have been better than them over the course of the last dozen matches, and Strasbourg have beaten Lille and Marseille of the teams above them. So Marseille, obviously second in the table. Strasbourg have beaten the second best team. Lyon have got one or two players just coming back from international duty. James basically put me onto the fact that Thiago Almeida and Nicolas Tagliafico, they did play for Argentina against Brazil. So whether they will start, that is a question mark, according to James. Malik Fofana is definitely missing, although he was sort of in and out the starting 11. And Sal Kambedi, who has started most games since the turn of the year, is missing because of suspension. So there's issues with Lyon personnel. James has suggested that the draw might be the way to play it here. So if you want to play the draw, that would be Mr. Eastham's sort of tentative pick. It's around about plus 260 at the moment. If you want to pay Strasbourg tie no bet, minus 108, could be a safe way to play it. And he's also put up one goal scorer bet as well. George Mikatadze expected to start ahead of Alexander Lacazette. Mikatadze scored 4 goals in his last 2 games for Georgia with the national side during the international break, and James reckons that he might be worth a play at plus 155 to score at any time, obviously taking a Lyon player there against Strasbourg. Strasbourg tie no bet minus 108. The draw is James's tentative lean at plus 250, plus 260. We have had a near $1,000 play on Strasbourg, Lyon over 2.5 goals. Lyon are an overs team. Strasbourg are an unders team. In terms of what you guys are saying, the real Brendan King, he gets it. I'm covering the high scoring draw. Thanks, Brendan. What else have we got? Joe Bamba, both teams to score an over. Nish says odds on somebody's dropping for Strasbourg. I'm on the win, but won't rule out both teams to score, but too skinny odds. And Joe says, look at the head-to-head stats. Both teams to score cashes most of the time. And Janepi says, hi guys, I'm a Lyon fan. I can almost guarantee you that Almeida and Tagliafico will be on the bench. Good information. Mikatadze, Cherki, Nuama to start up front, Taliso as a 10. And Joe Barber says also Cherki shot on target is also a play. So that's the German and the French football for you. Let's turn our attentions to the tennis. We're at the semi-final stage, Nigel, of the ATP action out in Miami. Djokovic, Dimitrov and Mensik against Fritz. Djokovic, we can tackle first of all here. Short price favourite, 3 p.m.-ish. We're expected to get underway for the first semi. What are your thoughts on that Djokovic-Dimitrov clash?
Well, I mean, Dimitrov has not only got to turn around not a long, lengthy match where he played Surundar, an epic match where he come from saving match points to winning a tiebreak, which was a disaster for us because we were on Surundar to win the tournament. But he was carried off the court as well by the staff and players and people, the officials, to get him off the court. He was in a real bad way. He's had a bit of a time to turn around, but Djokovic had an extra rest as well. But he's not only got to overturn that, he's got to overturn an unbelievable dominant head-to-head record where Novak Djokovic leads 13-1 against Dimitrov. The last time and the only time that Dimitrov beat Djokovic was back in 2013. He's at to, both these players are towards the end of their career, and Djokovic has come through, been very, very fortunate with the scheduling. He hasn't dropped a set. And it's amazing, really, because Djokovic hasn't won a match on the tour since the Australian Open in January. And now he's come here to Miami. He hasn't been here for a couple of years, and he's a heavy minus money favourite to win it. Nobody would have expected, me included, to win it, but, the draw has opened up for him. He's been rather fortunate in terms of the players that he's met, because all the players he's met in this tournament have frozen. I watched the first set against Rinky Hitchigard live. He lost that 6. He won that 6-love. Hitchigard then took him to a tiebreak. Musetti had a break point, 2 breaks up and then folded. And Korda was injured. Ugo Carabelli, it was overawed in the set number 1. So Musetti, he's been rather lucky, Djokovic, in terms of the players he's met. But you've only got to do what you do on the court, and he hasn't dropped the set yet. Dimitrov, on the other hand, has been tested. Kachanov was a very, very long match in round 3. The quarterfinal was extremely long as well. And today's relatively warm in Miami. It's about 26 degrees. It's going to be hot tomorrow and Sunday. The thunder and lightning all day. So I don't know how they're going to get the scheduling done. This may go into a Monday to get this over and done with. But it's very, very, very hard to oppose Djokovic in any capacity here. But he is a -$4 favourite. I mean, there has been money today for Dimitrov, which surprised me. So that would suggest that people may believe that he's recovered in a very, very quick time. He's been serving brilliantly. Serving this week has been excellent, Dimitrov, and his big serve has got him out of trouble big time. But I just don't know if he can compete, especially if it goes into a final set. I think he's in trouble. So it looks good for Novak Djokovic. It really doesn't look good, Novak Djokovic. The last time they met was in 2023 in Paris. It was a 6-4, 6-3. They played 5 times on hard courts, and all of them have been won by Novak Djokovic. 4 of them he's won in straight sets. And he's won pretty easily as well. I mean, he beat him in the Australian Open in straight sets in 2023. He beat him in Beijing 6-2, 6-4. He beat him in Cincinnati. It was the only time where Dimitrov took a set off him. So I think he'll cover the 3.5 Djokovic here. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Dimitrov pulls out halfway through if he loses the first set. And he's feeling it in set number 2. You know, it must be demoralising if you lose the first set, you're not 100% fit. You're coming towards the end of your career and you're facing an opponent that's beat you 13 times out of 14 times. So it may be one that I'm not sure ever Dimitrov will be able to complete it. But if he does and he wants to continue and he is injured, and Djokovic could run away with a set here quite easily. So I'm leaning towards the -3.5 on Djokovic. I don't want to do that because I think Djokovic is towards the end of his career, which we all know he's at the end of his career. I think he's beatable and vulnerable, but this has just been very, very lucky in terms of how the injuries panned out for him, and how unlucky for Dimitrov. Because I think Dimitrov has got a brilliant record in Miami. Would fancy his chances to beat Novak Djokovic, but he's probably at like 75% at best. And you need to be 120% fitness to beat Novak Djokovic, even this current version of Novak Djokovic. So I'm going to go for Dimitrov -3.5, Djokovic -3.5 to cover that.
-136 is the price if you're following Nigel in. What have our commenters suggested about this one? Duncan says Djokovic going to hose up. John says oldest ever Masters semi-final in history, by the way. Good stat. Nish says hope Novak match is spicy. Maybe he takes it to 3. Won't rule out retirement though.
No, that's
Dimi
the
looks
big worry.
exhausted. Yeah, that's what Nigel was saying. Duncan says under games to bet here. Can see this being 6-3, 6-2. Nish agreeing with that. And John saying Dimi's a classic big 3 pigeon. Not the best mental strength, and Djokovic wants that 100th title, which Nigel was talking about earlier this week. The other semi, what do you think here? Mensik against Fritz here. I think Sean had a bit of joy backing Fritz, didn't he, yesterday? What are your thoughts? -305. Do we play on the handicap given the start, or has Mensik got a chance? What do we think?
Well, I mean, the money's for Taylor Fritz in the build-up to this match, and probably rightly so, really. I mean, talking about lucky draws, I mean, Mensik's he's a very good player, Mensik. He's only a young teenager, but he's got a big serve. He's got a big future in the game, and he's going to go into the top 50 this week, and he's going to go rising into the top 20 and maybe even higher in the next year or so. But, I mean, his draw has been incredible. I mean, he struggled, actually, in round 1 against Bautista Agut. You know, he lost set number 2, and then he done better in the set number 3, but he didn't play well in set number 2. Then he played Jack Draper, who was absolutely exhausted after winning Indian Wells. He then played Saflin, who wasn't at it at all. He then got a walkover with Mahak, who one of our picks who withdrew before the match started. And he played an injured Artur Fils. So he's had a very, very fortunate run to get to the semi-finals here, whereas Taylor Fritz has done what he's had to do and looked quite impressive. He beat Shapovalov in a match where Shapovalov had chances against Fritz, but his serve was serving brilliantly. And then he won that big battle of the servers yesterday against Berrettini. I think Fritz is going to have a huge amount of support here in the tournament that he hasn't really done well in. It's a quick surface, as we've said all along, which will suit both players. But the head-to-head, they've only ever met once before, and that was at the US Open in 2023. And I know that Mensik is a very different player now than what he was then, but it wasn't a very happy experience for the Czech player. Fritz won 6-1, 6-2, 6-love. So that's as dominant as you can possibly get here. So no surprise really. I think Fritz will cover. I think the first set could be tight. I might go over 10.5 in set number 1, which I know it's been a bet that's been up or down this week, but it's a bet that it's our go-to bet in this tournament. I think that potentially could be quite a tight first set, but eventually I think Taylor Fritz will grind him down. So 2.5 again, Taylor Fritz might covering the spread and unders. I think these could be two very one-sided, or not one-sided in terms of the number, but I think they'll be over in straight sets. I think they'll be 7-6, 6-4, may not be so one-sided, but that will cover us there on both of those wagers. So, yeah, under 23.5 and -2.5 for Fritz. I don't see any way that both of these favourites are going to get beat. But the problem for James Blake and the tournament directors is how are they going to get this final done, because the weather tomorrow is awful. So, yeah, I'm going to go for an easy win for both favourites.
Ranju says Dimitrov under 10.5 games and over 10.5 first set games in the Fritz match. Here's picks. Hayden says 10 aces for Mensik. Is he a big server?
Yeah, very big server. Yeah, they both are. Obviously, Mensik, Taylor Fritz is a player that everyone sort of associates with quick services, but Mensik is a big server. I've seen him live a few times. He's a great player, but I just got to the draw. If you look at that draw, I mean, he's been so lucky with walkovers and players injured, and he's had to do what he's got to do. And I know that head-to-head was when he was a younger player, as I said there, and as someone else pointed out there. But I mean, that's a win that any opponent would be taking a little bit of pleasure in going into a match knowing you've beaten someone. Doesn't matter if they're 18, 32, 16 or what, but you beat someone by that scoreline, you'll be very confident of beating. And I think the crowd as well will make a point here. I mean, there'll be a very heavy American crowd in a night match in Miami. They're quite rowdy, the night matches. I've been there last week. I know what it's like there. And I think
not as rowdy now, though.
Not as rowdy now. No, not as rowdy now. But I think Taylor Fritz will get the job done. And no surprise, Fritz and Djokovic final.
You mentioned the weather. Obviously, the women's final is tomorrow. I mean, we were looking at the time of this and we wonder if they got it wrong because it's down as 10 a.m. Tomorrow. The Sabalenka Pegula game. We think that's wrong, or they try to avoid the weather here. What's the story, Nigel?
No, it's the night time. It'll be a nightmare. It'll be a night final. It'll be
what's the story? What's the story with the weather?
Afternoon time. Well, the weather's just thunder and lightning all day tomorrow, and you know what it's like when it rains there. It's like ridiculously heavy, and it comes down. Bucket loads. So the forecast isn't good, and I don't know how you're going to be able to schedule this stuff going on for those 2 days, but they'll probably find a way. But it'll be a stop-start final. I mean, Sabalenka's been amazing this week, fantastic in her performances, and you look at a player and a surface. This should be her surface. I mean, she should have no problems being here, but she's never won this tournament before. Never won it before. She's the last 2 times these two have met have both been in finals, and they've both been in hard court finals. They played in the 2024 US Open final, and it was 7-5, 7-5. And they played in the Cincinnati final, which was a hard court, and Sabalenka won that 6-3, 7-5. So there's a form guide here from last year in finals with the most recent US Open final. And they have been quite closest matches. I know that a couple of points have gone either way, but Sabalenka's power has got her through there. I thought Pegula played really well in that US Open final here. She's going to need the crowd behind her. And you've got to remember as well that Sabalenka has been a big favourite in big matches. She got to the final of the Indian Wells final last week and she got beat by Andreeva. She got to the final in the Australian Open and got beat by Madison Keys. So she's been in these big finals before as a favourite in this year already. And she's let odds-on bettors down. She's let minus money bettors down. Whether she'll let you down here, I don't know. I think she's got the better of Pegula. She's beaten her 6 times in the 8 times they've met. Both of them have played well. But I think if we were going to have a bet here, Sabalenka hasn't dropped the set. She's been amazing throughout this run. She's been incredible. Pegula beat Raducanu and Elia, the star of the tournament, in 3 sets. I think this could go overs. I think if you're looking at 21.5, potentially could be the bet here. The last 2 finals have gone over. And I do think that Pegula will have the support from the crowd, in particular in set number 1. I think set 1 could be quite tight, but I think Sabalenka will just edge it. I quite like Sabalenka to win 2 sets to 1 here at plus 280 as well. But it's pretty obvious. I think there's the favourites. All 3 matches will get the job done. Even if you put the favourites in the parlay, 3 of them, they'll pay a nice little price, plus money price. But I think it's very hard to look up oppose any of these favourites.
Duncan says thunder and lightning, very, very frightening.
Galileo.
Come on.
Galileo.
Galileo. Where did it go? You were a little bit slow on the uptake there, Nigel. I was slightly disappointed, but you got there in the end.
I'm tired, mate. I'm tired.
John says, I know you talk about Pegula not having the grit sometimes, but she's shown that multiple times this week.
But she's
a bit of
played a
resilience.
19-year-old girl in Elia who's been a star. Raducanu, who hasn't been in a semi-final for a long time. Now she's up there against the number 1 in the world, who's beaten her 6 times. I don't think that she's got the game to really punish her. What she needs to get off to a fast start, get the crowd behind her, make it a bit of an atmosphere, crazy atmosphere, and hope that Sabalenka can fold like she has done in her last 2 finals and get shocked. But I think the stop-start nature of the match with rain delays coming up will not help her.
Just to wrap up with the tennis for the men's, in terms of where the money's gone for the semis, 95% the money, 77% the tickets on Djokovic on the spreads, and similar numbers on the money line as well. So everybody wants to be with Djokovic over Dimitrov. Mensik against Fritz. Again, most of the money on Fritz on the money line, and indeed giving the start away on the spread. And most of the money when it comes to overs and unders for both games, overs, if you want to follow the money. We're going to finish with some FA Cup thoughts from myself and Nigel for quarterfinals. So a bit more soccer, a bit of a bonus here. We didn't normally do weekend action on the Friday show, but we thought we'd include it. So we've got 4 games to rattle through here. So let us know your picks when it comes to the FA Cup quarterfinals. We're going to start, Nigel, with Fulham against Crystal Palace, which is 8:15 Eastern on Saturday. Fulham plus 133, Palace plus 215 here, tie plus 225. When we did the Premier League show for this one, I think I got mugged into saying Fulham were a good bet and they got beat. I mean, it's one of those things we sort of found out that there are teams at short prices that don't get over the line. And I think Fulham is one of them for me. So when I look at those prices, I don't want to back Fulham at plus 133. It is the FA Cup. I think they're the better team, but I don't think they're any value. Great to see Mateta in the list there. Looks like he's going to play. We're told he's going to play. He's plus 188 to get on the score sheet. In Raul Jimenez, who led Mexico to CONCACAF Nations League glory over the course of the last international break. He's a plus 225 shot to score at any time. Whether he's going to be a little bit fatigued after the international break, who knows? But difficult one for me. I could see this one going extra time easy. Nigel, what's your thoughts?
That's what I like. I think this could be a draw. I really do. I think this is a huge match for both teams. I mean, obviously, I'm a London boy. Grew up with friends. I live very close to Crystal Palace. I used to live near Fulham. I've got friends from both of these clubs. The 2 sets of supporters are massively up for this match. This is their biggest game of the season. Forget anything in the Premier League. This is it. Both of these clubs have never won the FA Cup. So this is a huge match for them to get to Wembley. And I think this is going to be cagey, really cagey. If you look at the 2 times they played this season, both ended up in 2-0 wins. Crystal Palace went to Fulham and won 2-0. Fulham went to Crystal Palace and won 2-0. Last season, it was a 1-1 draw and a 0-0 draw. There's been 4 matches between the 2 sides in the last 2 seasons, and every single one has gone under 2.5 goals. There's been 3 draws in the last 5 matches between these 2. And if you look, an amazing stat this season. Do you know that Crystal Palace haven't conceded an away goal since in 2025?
Is that right?
Yeah, in 2025.
That's a great stat.
And that's incredible. Their last away goal conceded was against Arsenal in mid-December. And that shows you really how well Glasner has done. I watched them play against West Ham, and I remember coming away from it thinking their back 3 is amazing. And the centre half of the choir reminds me of Van Dijk. I think he's absolutely different class. And this is such a big match for these 2 sides. And I'm going to go for a draw and then under 2.5 goals. And this under 2.5 goals is minus 134, and the draw is plus 225. But this is because both sides will want to get to. There's an opportunity to get to Wembley. These 2 teams rarely get an opportunity to go to Wembley. And I don't think Fulham have been to the new Wembley. I think Crystal Palace have. They got to the FA Cup semi-final a couple of years ago against Chelsea. But they've never won nothing, and this is a massive match, and I think nerves will play a part. So a draw, low-scoring draw, extra time, could go all the way to penalties, but I do like a low-scoring draw here.
Paul says the 2-2. Well, we're going for 1-1. We'll take a 1-1 or a 0-0. But
0-0,
not
1-1.
2-2. Yeah, it's a difficult one. As Nish says, Duncan says, yeah, drawing 90 minutes for that one. This is my bet of the weekend. I'm betting Forest at plus 330. Nigel away at Brighton. I know Brighton are in great form at the moment at minus 127. But the stat that we talked about again on the Premier League show, when Brighton have more of the ball these days, their style has changed. They're not as good in possession as they used to be. And Forest are just the best counter-attacking side in the Premier League. It's as simple as that. And Brighton are going to have more of the ball. Forest will sit back, hit them on the break. I know that they're both going for Champions League. Forest are getting towards the line pretty quickly now. Brighton just off the pace, but they've got a good shout as well to finish in the top 4 or top 5 as it might turn out to be. I know Brighton are probably the form team in terms of the Premier League, but I just think that's such a big price about Forest, and the style of play might just suit Nuno. But again, it could come down to if they rotate. Obviously, midweek slate coming in the Premier League. How do you see it?
You've made a brilliant case for Nottingham Forest, and you haven't mentioned the fact they beat them 7-0 a few weeks ago.
Well, that was such an anomaly because everyone knows Brighton didn't play any midfielders in that game. It was such a strange game, and since then Brighton have been so much better. But yeah, I mean, look, I backed Brighton that day, and they got beat 7-0, so I'll probably have egg on my face here as well. But you're right. I mean, it's the difficult one with these two. I hope that they don't rotate, but they might do, Nigel.
Well, yeah, I think they will. I think Forest will definitely rotate. I think Brighton want to win something. Neither of these sides have won the FA Cup either, have they?
Forest have.
Have they won the FA Cup?
Yeah, Forest.
Oh, I remember when Cloughy got to the final against.
Go back to the fifth. I think you'll go back to the 50s.
Oh, right,
I can't remember.
Well, I mean, again, this is a huge match. 7-0 Forest. I mean, where do we go here? Brighton are in absolute great form, aren't they? But so are Forest. They've got some massive matches coming up. I mean, Brighton's game in midweek is at home or away. They've got Aston Villa, which is a huge match for their Champions League or European aspirations. There was another stat that I come across here, which was Brighton have scored the first goal in 5 of their home games this season. In their 5 of their home games this season, which is the worst outside the bottom 5 of the league. And whereas Nottingham Forest have scored the first goal in 11 of the 15, which is one of the highest in the Premier League. So
and then they control it, don't they? They score first, sit back, they control the game, and it's just how they play.
So I was looking at Nottingham Forest to score first, or basically if you fancy Brighton, go for a really big price with half-time, full-time, regular time, which is Nottingham Forest to be leading at half-time and Brighton to be winning at full-time. And that's 25-1, which I think it could be that kind of match where Forest could take the lead. Brighton might have to throw the kitchen sink at them and get a goal. But I think this will be an amazing match. I remember that Brighton losing to Brighton. It was 84, wasn't it? 84? 1984? Which
one?
Brighton v Man United in the
83.
FA Cup.
83.
4-0 the replay, wasn't it? 1-1.
That's right, yeah. What was we better, ladies and gentlemen, we better not start Nigel on naming teams from FA Cup finals of the early 80s. But I'm just going to ask you this: what was the difference in the lineup between the original game and the replay? Who was the player?
From the Man United team,
Brighton team.
Gordon Smith.
Banned. He was banned. He was suspended for the first game, and he came back and played. And it was such a big. There was a massive.
Steve Foster.
Steve Foster, great knowledge.
I remember Ray Wilkins scoring.
Brilliant goal. Wonderful goal. Curler.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're losing viewers by the gallon full at the moment.
Half of these guys weren't even born in 1984. I mean, talking reminiscing about Steve Foster,
Duncan's
warrior.
Yeah, exactly. He missed the first game suspended, came back, and Brighton were absolutely useless in defence. Duncan says, yeah, old enough to that. Paul says 0-0, 8-1. Duncan Fulham played a playoff final in the new Wembley. Yes, they did. Ranjiv says, NBA picks for the day. Towns over 40.5. If you want the NBA pick, Ranji's got the details on screen. We are running out of time rapidly, so let's get the other picks from Nigel in this one. Preston against Villa here. My next door neighbour's a Preston fan. He's going up back to Deepdale, where he was from, to watch this one. 6-1 to beat Villa here. I think they might have a puncher's chance here of at least scoring, making it difficult for Villa. Got that Bayern Munich game coming up in a couple of weeks. Any angles in here for you?
I think if it was Nigel, the week before the Bayern Munich match or the week after the Bayern Munich match, you'd fancy it. I think they've got a little bit of time. They've got a big squad now in terms of bringing Asensio and Rashford in, two of the best summer side in the transfer window signings for me. I've gone for a prop on the insider, betting weekly insider. I've gone for Asensio to score at any time at plus 180. I think he's been absolutely sensational since he's come to Aston Villa. I've got a feeling Aston Villa's name could be in the FA Cup this year. They would be my pick to win it. Villa fan is on here. I'm going to be one of the Villa fans with you, but I think they're going to be too strong. I think they'll rest some players, but they can change it off the bench. And Preston, for me, I think this Premier League this season as well in the FA Cup, and the last couple of seasons, the days of the big shocks have gone, especially in the latter stages. So I'm going to go for Aston Villa to win it, but the prop will be Asensio to score at any time.
Asensio to score at any time, plus 180. Probably start as well, I would have thought. I think it's a good call. I think he will start in that game up at Deepdale. Should be a good one. And finally, we've got the Bournemouth Man City prices up on screen there. Bournemouth plus 185, City plus 138. I mean, we still can't make head and tail of these City prices. Myself and Nigel on the Premier League show. They're favourites again here. Plus 255, the tie. I know if Lewis was on the show, he'd be getting with Bournemouth somehow, wouldn't he? Over as an under series is 3.5, but it looks high. I mean, Bournemouth create a lot of chances, but don't always take them. For the FA Cup, I'd like to see City get knocked out, and then we'd have, potentially a new name on it, and have some really good semi-finals and a good final. I'm hoping Bournemouth will win, but I'd want a little bit bigger than plus 185. Nigel, what do you think?
We are hoping, because Lewis Jones is his pre-season pick on Bournemouth to win. Steve Wiss gave Fulham.
Steve's got Fulham,
and the Fulham-Bournemouth final will be absolutely brilliant for the channel. I'm hoping they'll win it. On the season, what we've seen so far, that they've got every single chance at it. But, they did beat Man City this season, which was the first time they've ever beaten Man City since the Premier League were formed. It's just so hard. I mean, we've been putting in ratings of football teams on the Betting Weekly Insider, like a power ratings. And Manchester City are the hardest team to rate. So when it comes to these kind of matches, it's really impossible to gauge what Man City, how you expect them to play. The one thing I do expect goals. Because I think it's still or die for both of them. They don't want extra time replays. They've got big effort. They've got big games in the Premier League at the weekend. The goal line is high at 3.5, but I'd probably go over 3 on the Asian with a push at 3. But I do think goals for this match. I think this. If someone said you could watch one match out of all 4, this one here would be the one I'd want to watch. I think this will be a real good match.
Over 3.5 is plus 125. You sure you don't want to do the over 1.5 over a half parlay, Nigel, for that one?
No. Just stick to plain and simple. We're losing people at an alarming rate when we're talking.
Dean says Bayern Munich Villa play PSG. Yes, sorry. I think
they played them early in the season, didn't they?
Yeah, I think there's me who said Bayern. Yeah, PSG. They're playing. Yeah, that'll be a really good game with Unai Emery going back. Yeah, so many shows coming left, right, and centre. Duncan says Watkins good for his boots. 2 or more. Gurney says that's part of a song. I think. Will it be Blackpool or PNE? And says talking about Steve Foster. With the headband that he wore, and Mark, who's put this on the comments for the European show this week. I think it's Mark or somebody else says 4-game parlay on the FA Cup games, all draws. I've been betting draws in the Champions League all season. I'm absolutely skint because there's been no draws. It's been killing me. But a 4-leg all draws parlay, 199 to 1, says Troy. There you go. There's going to be a load of draws in the Champions League soon, and I'm just not going to have anything left in the account to play, but it will happen. Sunk cost fallacy and all that. Duncan said good price on Manchester City. It might be, but I just can't trust it. I think it might be a good watch, as Nigel points out. That about wraps it up. Nigel, what best bets for you, soccer-wise or tennis-wise? We've covered an awful lot over the last 55 minutes.
Well, my best bet would be Coventry draw no bet tonight at plus 150 against Sheffield United. But I'll definitely be betting Lewis's pick of the goal scorer. What's his name?
Hadji Wright.
Hadji Wright to score any time at plus 255. I think that the reasoning he's given there is brilliant. I like that as well. So we're getting with Coventry tonight. And on the tennis, I wouldn't put anybody off having a parlay on the
Jollies.
All the favourites, yeah.
All the favourites. Thanks for your company, Nigel. As ever, thanks for stepping in as well. What have we got coming up over the course of early next week now? There's an awful lot coming on the channel.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there doing the rota. It used to take me an hour. It takes me 4 hours now to do the rota. There's so many shows coming. Lots more exciting content coming in. Hopefully having some new faces joining the channel as well in April. We might be doing another Betting Weekly Live at another time as well. So we might have 2 different shows. Betting Weekly Live. We've got some great tennis content. Sean is over in Morocco this week. Then we have the Monte Carlo Masters. We have the Champions League coming back. We have some big games there. The conclusion of the domestic leagues across Europe as well. Some really big matches as well as this springtime, April, May is when everything gets really going. And it's going to be a crazy couple of months.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks for your company. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Have a really good betting night tonight and indeed over the weekend. We've got the European show live, of course, on the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you subscribe and like wherever you can across our social channels. We're going to be back on Monday for the live show, of course, 11 a.m. Eastern. It might change where you are, depending where you are in the world, but make sure you join us for that because it's going to be Steve and Doug talking more March Madness. And Doug has been in sensational form and there's picks tonight.
Oh, just one before we go.
Go
What the March Madness? I was thinking about it. I was just going to mention. Why don't the FA Cup do March Madness? Why don't you have 128 teams exactly say a March Madness? Take 2 weeks off the season. Put your squads in. You put 25 players in your squads. You can only choose those 25 players. You do it after each other. Next day, and do the whole FA Cup and just get on with the Premier League.
I think the fatigue for the players, that would be the problem. You couldn't keep playing day after day after day.
Well, you have to squad rotation, put their teams out.
That's the issue. But other than that, I mean, you're sort of nearly describing the Club World Cup, aren't you?
Yeah.
Sort of. But I know what you mean. You could have it in season. I know what you're saying. It'd be an interesting one, but it'd never happen. But
no. Okay.
Next time you're at Wembley, with a glass of champagne with the high ups, just say, "Oi, Roger, I've got an idea for you." You're not getting there.
All right, no worries. Okay, just a thought.
Nigel, thanks for your company. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We are back on Monday. Have a very good betting weekend.